This is going to be my video on the Beretta APX. There is quite a few videos out there on it. I've seen quite a few of them. Appreciated quite a few of them. Basically, I've had this firearm for a little over a year. And I've got about 1,100 to 1,200 rounds, give or take, in there. I don't actually do full and complete round counts on the firearms, but that's about what I've got down it. After about 500 or 600 that I put through it, I decided to make this my permanent bedside gun. So this lives in my nightstand, doesn't go anywhere, that's where I keep it. The main reason for that is, of course, going to be reliability. Within those first 500 to 600 rounds, mixed ammo, I use some Hornady, I use some Fort Scott, I also use some Underwood, and of course our standard range ammo being Federal, Remington UMC, even the Winchester Brown Box steel cased ammo, which is absolutely horrendous. Never had a bobble with any of it. Not one time through the whole process did I have any issues whatsoever. Granted, I live in Florida, so the only weather elements that I deal with are oppressive heat. We have no snow, we have no sleet, so I never had to deal with any of those, so you know, your results may vary, as many people would say. One of the things that I noticed on a lot of videos that I saw is with removing the slide. So what I'm going to do real quick, mag's unloaded, firearm is unloaded. This is how I take it down. Slides home, pull the trigger, and what you're going to do is this button right here, you're going to just press in on. You don't need a lot of pressure, but you do need a little bit, and rotate down. As you'll notice, I'm not going to break my grip. I'm not going to do anything crazy with the weapon. Simply push in, rotate down, and we're done. She's off. That's all it takes. While I have it open, I'll point out a couple things that I like about the firearm. First is obviously the removable chassis. Is it a pain in the butt to take out? Yes, absolutely. The first couple times you're going to feel like you're all thumbs and you're never going to get this freaking thing out. When you do, God help you to put it back. However, after I did it about 3 or 4 times, which sounds hysterical, it actually was pretty easy. Not a big deal because it's not something that I'm going to do on a regular basis anyway. Maybe a couple times a year for a good cleaning. Again, this is a nightstand gun, so I did put a decent amount of rounds through it when I got it, but I don't really put quite as many through it as I did when I first got the firearm. So one of the things I do like about this is the full rail system here, the full slides. Does it really make a difference? Probably not, because Glock has much smaller slide rails, and obviously they're one of the most reliable guns on the planet. However, this makes me feel warm and fuzzy, which is really all that matters at the end of the day. It's got some beef to it, it's got some heft to it, and I do like that about the pistol. Everything else is pretty standard. You hear a lot of people talking about this bird's nest style mess of a recoil spring, but honestly, I've never had any issues with it. Recoil's good. I've had no problems cleaning it. Nothing slipped, nothing's messed up, so I'm totally fine with that. Beretta engineers know far more than I do about how to build a recoil spring. Now the barrel, you got your standard wear around here. Nothing major. A little bit on the hood, nothing major. Again, everything's in pretty good condition. Inside, standard wear right there. Other than that, everything's in good shape. Put this back together. All right. And putting it back on. Pretty simple. Pull it back and it locks itself in. So I'm going to do this one more time. Pull the trigger. Or of course you can use the little button here to depress this little button, and that'll take care of it instead of pulling the trigger. Then again, this side here, push. Use this thumb here to rotate down, same time. Boom, that's it, slides off. I don't really see what the problem is, but it's one of the easier mechanisms that I've had to use. And this, for some reason on mine, this is a little bit weird. Sometimes when I pull it back, see it goes in, I didn't even touch it. Sometimes it doesn't, that's probably me not paying attention, having my fat thumb in the way. So as far as taking it down, cleaning it, I've seen no problems with it whatsoever. I do really actually like this takedown. I think it's easier than the Glocks because I have a little bit of a problem sometimes grabbing onto those little tiny tabs. I think CZ took that system and improved it. It's a little bit easier to take down on the P10C than it is on the Glock. But I do prefer this, even over the Smith & Wesson, personally, because you don't have to lock the slide back. Again, simple. Press the trigger, push, rotate, done, you're off. I think that's the easiest system that I've seen. Except for this part now. There we go. Okay. Let me go ahead and take this light off. Oh, light. Fantastic. Highly recommend. Then we go to the magazines. I know this was a little bit of a point of contention for some people, and I kind of agree. It's a little bit weird, but I've got about 7 or 8 magazines. Oops, out of frame there. This little here where the slide locks in. Or not slide magazine, obviously. But I've never had any issues with any of these magazines. Like I said, I've got about 8 of them. They're all good to go for me. Insertion's very easy. You don't really have a flared mag well down here. Maybe just a smidge of a bevel. No mag well. But it goes in easy, comes out super easy. Positive ejection, which is nice. And then the ergonomics for me are pretty much second to none for my hands. I know some people with larger hands have said that this is a little bit of a small grip, and I can see where they're coming from on that. This, is compared to a Glock or a P320, is much smaller. I think it's a little bit closer to maybe Walther HK style as far as where you grip on it. I do like how this comes up under pretty good, so you're set pretty well back from the slide. So it really does kind of get back far on the top of your hand. Slide bites, it's just, I can't see it ever being an issue whatsoever. The only firearm I've had issues with slide bite was an XD, and that thing bit me pretty good a couple times. The slide serrations, I know these are love them or hate them. I love them and hate them. I think they look great. I think they're extremely functional when everything's going good. Your hands are dry, the gun's not oily, which is probably going to be about 99.9% of the time that anybody's going to use these anyway. You know, in your house, if you're carrying it, it's in your car, chances are you're not going to be covered in oil. If you are, these actually are not that great, which pains me to say it because I do love the gun. But I wish they had something in here, maybe just a little bit of a sharper edge, maybe change this spacing just a little bit, but you will find yourself, I'm squeezing, getting slippery. I got oil because I took apart the, or grease, excuse me, because I took apart the gun. But you will find some slipping in there. That's disappointing because I love the design. Hopefully in later models they can maybe do something to fix that up a little bit, because I think it's extremely attractive and it's also unique, which is nice considering what we're dealing with now. With every gun looks the damn same. Sights. I do like the bigger front white dot. Let me line it up here. There we go. So the front dot's a little bit bigger than the rear. I do like that for the purpose of this gun. This is a duty gun or a nightstand gun or a truck gun or even a carry gun if you want to go with something of this size. And it does help you pick up quicker for out-of-the-box sights. Will I replace these with some, probably Ameriglos that have the orange or yellow ring on the outside of the tritium? Yes, if they ever come out with them for the Beretta. Haven't seen them yet, but past that, I'm fine with these sights. They work quick. You can get them on target pretty quick. It's, you know, they're pretty effective. I like them. I've definitely seen worse on other firearms. Trigger. It's a nice, flat, wide trigger, which to me is good. I like it. I like the wideness of the trigger. I have heard about the little dingus thing here in the middle, that it sticks out. I don't think it's as obvious as a Glock is. To me, honestly, the Glock bothers me a lot more. Neither of them bother you when you're shooting it, so it's not really that big of an issue. But for some reason, I guess where this one sits on my finger, it just doesn't really bother me. Trigger pull. I will tell you, this is one of those triggers that when you dry fire, it feels okay. When you shoot it live, it feels much, much better. So you've got a little bit of take up there. Very little. That's it. And then the brake. it has like a slight pull and then it breaks. But it's very good. And the reset, very short. A little bit of pull and then a break. And then of course that's just, that little bit of pull is just moving our striker block out of the way. So, and then as soon as it's out of the way, boom, it breaks. So I'm a fan of the trigger, I like it. Is it the best out there? No. But it's up there for me. I think it's a very effective trigger, and I love shooting it at the range. So it works for me. Mag release, teardrop, nice shape, works. Never had any issues with it. So that is pretty much my take on this APX. I'm looking forward to see the new subcompact and the Centurion come out, because like I said, I am a big fan of this gun. It's been infallible as far as any types of ammo issues or anything of that nature. But it's a wide load. Up here, fat. Especially compared to other striker fire guns that are out there on the market. I'm curious to see how this translates into a smaller gun. With a duty gun of this size, I don't really care. You know, it's fine. I just want it to work. It's a reasonable size. But when you start shrinking everything up except this, that might get a little bit awkward. And I'm going to be curious to see how that the smaller frame guns balance and how they look, and are they going to be too wide? As many of you know, when you're carrying concealed, millimeters matter. You know, especially for me in comfort and also in concealment. So, but everybody's a little different. For me, it matters. That's what happens when somebody calls and you're trying to record on your iPhone and it cuts off when you've got about 1 sentence left. And I'm frankly too lazy to record what I just did. So anyway, like I was saying, for me, the width of the gun does matter when I'm carrying it. Currently, I'm carrying a 2.0 M&P compact. And a Harry's holster with the claw, which I love, absolutely love it. I used to really only use, what are those, the hidden hybrids, because those are a little more comfortable, but the Harry's with the claw on it is much better for me. So anyway, that was really all I had on the Beretta. After my video abruptly cut off and I walked away because I was pissed off, thought of a couple other things that I just find with Berettas. One of them is just the operation of the slide itself. It's just really smooth, really solid. It's got a different sound to it. I'm a bit of a Beretta fanboy, but then again, I'm a fanboy of pretty much anything that goes bang. However, Beretta's up there for me, and I do really like it. I mean, just the build quality of it, everything to me is good. Really good for a striker fire gun, and I would highly recommend it. Does that mean, because I recommend it, that it's going to work for you? Abso-freaking-lutely not. Try to shoot one first, borrow one from somebody, check one out at the range, whatever you need to do. See how the ergos fit your hand. But for me, it's been great. I haven't had any issues, and I absolutely will look into the compact and Centurion once they kind of hit stores a little bit first. Like I said, with the sizing of this and how it's going to translate, I do kind of want to see one in person before I pick it up, which I did not do with this. And this one worked out for me, but in the past it hasn't. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below. This is my first video, so I'm sure I messed up a couple things. I'm not really going to worry about that too terribly much because it happens, but constructive criticism is appreciated. Nastiness, crappy comments, go ahead and leave those down below too. I will not read them because I do not give a shit. Be kind to everyone. Enjoy and have fun shooting. Thank you.